So how do you feel about the how their decks line up after we
Um,
know the ban?
well, the Haven and Blood are the same. Well, could be mirror matches. Will be mirror matches if they queue into each other. Um,
Yeah.
in terms of Lexan having Shadow and oh, Lexan has Force and Mango
Yeah,
having
yes.
Shadow. Um, I well if it comes down to Game 5, Shadow versus Force, I do have to give the advantage to the Shadows from what I mentioned earlier about them having more wards.
Yeah.
Um, but if
But what if the Shadow matches against Haven?
yeah, then Haven would be favored in that instance, right? So it's definitely going to be kind of like a dice roll and how they queue into each other's matches. Because Conquest is basically rolling the dice in
Roll
terms
the
of
dice
queuing
for the
decks.
deck.
Yeah. So we do find the Shadow into
Ooh.
Forest game 1 though. Unfortunately, we can't see both hands. I haven't figured out a good way of setting that up yet. Um, so we will be in the perspective of LexanRerean here.
Did you see he threw away a Will of the Forest from
Yeah.
his hand? How do you feel about Will in this kind of deck?
I personally don't play it because I run Endomes and Lexan's Odorless, which is more aggressive into the 1-drops. But
Yeah,
I,
that's what I play.
I have seen Will of the Forest, and it has kind of worked out. The problem is, like, it's somewhat of a different playstyle because you kind of have to have cards in your hand. And when I play this deck, I play really aggressive into my followers. Like, I usually just drop them all unless I'm setting up for a Roach combo turn.
Yeah, I agree. And what I've found with this deck is since you're flooding the board on the early turns, usually you don't even care to save too many cards because when you're generating all your 0 mana cards with Fina or EPM,
Mhm.
usually the board space is the problem. It's not the issue with how many fairies and things you have to play.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have the space to play them, so
Yeah, board space is usually because usually when you're going for a big roach combo turn, you'll have enough play points to play like 1-cost fairies. So 0-cost cards aren't too big of an issue. It is that board space problem, which is why some people do prefer running like angelic snipes, so that
yeah.
they could get the extra count on the roach, get that ping damage to face, and they don't have to worry about the board space. So looking at their hands play, what their hands will be playing now, the Will of the Forest doesn't seem like it will be doing too much this game. Maybe it'll kill off one follower, since Lexan's hand is starting to run low. He does have the Fina next turn, which he could evolve into, which will be very nice for him.
Yeah. I find with this deck that you're very, very reliant on your evolve plays, because if you don't draw into Fina or EPM and get that evolve, you can't get your combo off fast enough. And I find that's like the way you win the game is through that.
Yeah. Oh well, he does get the Fina off on 5 on Curse
Yeah.
with the evolve, and he's going to this Lich pretty nicely. I feel like Shadows now, they don't have as strong of evolve plays anymore. They don't have any minions that have an evolve effect, right? Their deck mainly consists of last words.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people still play Playful, but
Let's see, is he
I
playing?
have seen others cut it because it doesn't synergize with the list as well.
Yeah. So for Mango, he does not have the Playful in his list. He doesn't have any of the Death Rattle, any of the evolve effects. He is running the Mordecai and 2 Mordecais and 3 Nephthys in his build. So he is going for that kind of last word burst, or really swingy Nephthys turn. If you could get into the late game.
The double ding dong here.
Yeah. So this is
feel
like
we have
Shadow's
different
worst
arcs.
nightmare. Yeah, we haven't seen Ding Dong too much anymore. It was a good card back before any of the expansions, I think, because it was just like a nice cycling card. But now there's just a lot of options. Players don't really find the space to put it in their decks anymore.
Now, as the Forest player, what do you do here in a situation where you've got two ding dongs in your face and
Oh man, I think
a handful of combo?
Do you go for the Will of the Forest here? You try to clean some stuff up?
With my luck, I know the 4/4 lives.
Yeah, I mean,
So I wouldn't, but
it would be doing 6 damage, right? So if you play expecting the worst case, it could just go terribly wrong. You could just ping things maybe like once, or
yeah,
and then you just used up your entire turn doing nothing. It does kind of suck for evolving just a fairy to deal with a ward here.
Oh, he is going for the will.
Oh, it worked out in his favor.
Oh yeah, I don't think it could have been.
Is that
much better than that? I guess it could have killed the 4/4 and the bell ringer.
Yeah.
But,
I think this is one of the best cases because now he could trade the fairy into the lich if he wants, but not with that. Kawaii.
Oh, that was a miserable card as well.
We've been discussing how to pronounce this card's name. Is there like Kwei or Kawaii, like as in cute, or
I would say Kawi.
Kawi? Okay, that's a new.
Kawi?
That's a third option. Yeah, we were having a debate about this on my stream last time.
Oh. And there's the Angelic Snipe that you'd mentioned. And while it is really good to get that extra combo activation, I mean, you can see full combo is struggling a little bit.
Yeah, and he has to burn a roach on this Kwei.
Is he going all in here?
He might just be. Would you bounce back a roach and hold them? Or would you just replay it again for the 6?
I think you replay it again since you have another guidance in hand, though.
Yeah, I think this is right, too.
So he's actually in an okay spot right now. Especially picking up the fairy circle off of that draw.
Yeah, fairy circle is really nice for bumping up your rhino combo. Oh, the Kwei going off. Oh, but I guess it's not doing too much. He only for 2. Is this the forest picking up the win here? Yeah, this is way over. I think this is
Didn't
not
have the Death's Breath.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for
it's
for Mango.
He must be running 3, right? There's no way he isn't.
Yeah, he's running 3.
There's no way.
Yeah, so he was just really unlucky with his hand never picking one up. Because he went through half his deck.
Yeah, that's true. He even had the extra draw, too, from all the bell ringers. Wow, and Mango's gonna pick up his... Was it...
First win. Yeah.
No, that's... Sorry. Lexan's gonna pick up the win.
Yeah, Lexan's gonna pick up
the Forest in the unfavorable matchup.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think the matchup's terribly unfavorable because I queue into Shadow a lot on ladder as well, and I win, like, a decent amount. I would say at least... I think I'm winning at least 50% of the time. So it's not, like, a terrible matchup. It is winnable. It's just that if the Shadow player does get, like, 2 of the Death's Breath or all their Quays, it's super hard to get through. But, yeah, in situations like those, because Death's Breath is an expensive card, you wouldn't hold it in your opening hand. But not seeing 1 out of 3 copies in half his deck is unfortunate there.
It is unfortunate. So what do you think the next match is going to be? Do you think he's going to stick with the Shadow and just try and get that win with it? Or do you think he's going to switch it up a little bit?
I think he's going to switch it up because you said Haven is favored, right?
Yeah, well, assuming.
I would think Aggro Blood... I haven't played that matchup, but you think Aggro Blood is good against Shadow, or is Shadow just overrunning them with their wards?
Well, from what I've played when I played against Aggro Blood, the Aggro Blood was quite favored against me. However, his list is different from what I was running. He's got the, he's got Bell Ringers, he's not actually playing the, the Lurching Corpse and all the, the sleeper cards.
Oh yeah, he's not. He's running more spells too.
Yeah, so he actually can deal with some of the threats that they put out, whereas the list that I ran before was you know, playing Lurching Corpse onto, which just does nothing against
aggro.
the aggro blood. So
Yeah.
he does have more tools to deal with it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I think he's got a good chance.
Do you think he teched out his deck expecting more aggro?
I would assume so, given the state of the meta right now, which is aggro blood and tempo rune.
Okay, so it looks like it's going to be a aggro blood mirror. Going first is favorable, I would say.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, so Lexan is going first here. He is running slightly slower cards with the Fina and the new legendary. I forgot his name.
But he's got Urias.
Yeah, he's got Urias, but he doesn't have a 1-drop. I think a 1-drop is one of the most important things in this matchup. Oh, but neither player has it. Now, now Urias is going to be great.
Isn't this what we were talking about before? Double Urias?
Yeah, because he doesn't have a way of killing them. So he's going to be eating too next turn for sure. Unless he wants to use a Razor Claw on one of them.
I don't like that. I think you just drop the Urias and go face.
Yeah. Oh, I mean for Mango's perspective, his only way of dealing with it is the claw.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man! Here we go. I guess it's just going to... If it's a race, usually the person who goes first is going to win because he had the initiative. Usually when I go second as Blood in the mirror match, I usually like to try to control the board because I have the extra card and extra evil. But we'll see how Mango takes this matchup because he could choose to start racing as well starting next turn.
He does opt to clear one of them.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I think given that his opponent gets to evolve first next turn, I think that I prefer that play, and also because it just you know, he's not really going to be going for the race on his following turn because if he wants to play Fina and evolve her, he's going to be using it for board as opposed to just racing.
Yeah.
So I think I prefer that.
Do you think he's ever playing Fina? If you think he's ever going to try get Fina off at all, like play her and then evolve? Because I feel like the problem I see with Fina in this kind of build is I usually use my evolve points just to get extra face damage in.
Yeah.
So would you use, especially as going first, so you only have 2 evolve points, would you be using a Fina to evolve next turn? Or would you, because it's likely that one of his followers is going to live this turn, would you rather evolve that and go face?
I think given his line of play that he made last turn, it's most likely that he's just going to play the Fina and evolve. And he's still got 2 Urias on board. And I don't know, maybe that makes him go face, though, if he's doing that.
Yeah, but, I mean, Mango is at 8 right now. And he has the Demonic Strike in his hand.
That's true.
So he really only
that
needs 1 damage.
His play on the previous turn. Do you think he should have just went face on the last turn? Or do you think it was a good decision that he killed the opponent's Urias?
It's hard to say, because if he did go face with the Claw, he'd be at 5 and he would have won this turn. Leaving that Urias up though, would that have made him been able to clear the entire board?
I don't think so. Could he?
Yeah, the Urias... I don't think he would have been. So he could have had Leaf Flow this turn, potentially.
I mean, it's only 1 extra damage on the board, right? Like,
yeah.
It's just another 1/3.
Yeah.
So I don't think it wouldn't have cleared anything else.
Do you think this turn Lexan will go for a clear with, say, Demonic Strike and Vampire Evolve and then clear everything? Or would you... Because there's 7 on the board right now.
Yeah, I think he's going to clear. I think he doesn't have... I mean, he doesn't have enough to lethal, and it's very clear that if he doesn't clear, he's probably going to die on the following turn.
It's interesting that he's going for Vania here instead of the Demonic Strike. So he's leaving up... Actually, he's leaving 3 power on the board, but I don't think there's a way he dies, right?
No, max from hand could be, what, 6?
Looking at Mango's list, what would he? Yeah, the most he could do is like double claw or.
Oh no, I guess if he had the.
No, he has.
He needs claw and.
Evil wolf.
Claw wolf, yeah.
Yeah.
Claw wolf evolve.
Yeah, and that's the only.
Anything else?
That's the only combination.
Or I guess double claw plus wraith, or yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think claw. Oh yeah, I guess claw and wraith.
That's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, I guess what Lexan was thinking of what are the probabilities that he has these exact combination of cards with 5 cards in his hand. It should be unlikely statistically, but
especially given that on the first turn he didn't have a 1-drop. So the wraith that he picked up and played on the previous turns, was clearly picked up later and not.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have another wraith in his hand, or unless he just drew one. I guess you could consider if he didn't really have a good opening, he might have double claw. But he also played a wolf too, so the chances that he has a second wolf is less likely.
Yeah.
And does this set up lethal for him this turn? His following turn? You have...
For Lexan?
Yeah. Well, he does have it unless his bat dies. Yeah, that's going to be it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so Lexan basically put Mango in a position of having those exact cards, or he just wins his turn, I guess.
Yeah, and given that copies of those cards have been played already, I think it was a pretty good odds for him.
Yeah. So now Lexan is left with his Haven Craft, while Mango still has to find a win with his Blood, Haven, and Shadow.
Ooh. I think it's going to be tough, given that he still has to win with that Shadow.
Yeah. So
because the only thing he can queue into is Haven.
I mean, the Shadow does have, like, things like Mordecai, which could be hard for Haven to deal with unless they save their scriptures and just banish them away.
But the Shadow list is pretty slow, right? So I've got to imagine that the Haven could probably feel safe enough to sit there and hold that removal.
Yeah.
Be able to banish it later on. And they have all the heals in the world to stay alive through the early way. So.
And Shadow has no way of dealing with Seraph.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Shadow list right now. I don't think there's much of a way that the Shadow could have pressure early on, unless. It's going to be interesting to see. But we'll see if Mango chooses to try to get a win on the hardest matchup with Shadow, or if he's going to try to make it a 2-2 series and then bring it up to Shadow with momentum. But how are his other matchups? So Blood, I think Blood could definitely win any matchup, so it should have a decent chance against Haven.
How is the new aggro Blood versus Hybrid Haven?
If they get a fast enough start, Havens usually can't keep up. Like they'll stabilize later in the game, but if Blood just burns them down quick enough, they don't have the time.
I think going first helps significantly.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
And what about the Haven? Do they have differences in their Haven list that would give someone an edge? Or are they pretty much the same? Oh, actually, Mango's Haven list doesn't have Elena's. If I'm correct.
Let me see.
Yeah, Mango's is more towards, I think, just control and in Seraph as the win condition.
This is just a pure Seraph list, right?
Yeah.
Like a more control-heavy variant.
Yeah. Do you think that would be favored against an Elena hybrid?
I think, actually, it might be. Because in that matchup, you're going to win based off the Seraph, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're trying to get anything off the board, like or anything onto the board, you just Themis and clear it.
Yeah.
And you also have the Tribunal now, so I don't even see how the Alanas can actually.
Yeah,
make
it's
use
not
of it.
going to do much.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a race to Seraph.
Well, first we got Mango queuing his aggro blood into the Haven. I think this is probably one of his more favorable matchups to start off with.
Yeah, I think he just wants to get that win out of the way, or like get a chance at that win quickly.
Yeah,
Just because Blood is probably the most likely to pick up a win.
he does miss out on the 1-drop on turn 1, which is kind of important. It means like that 1-drop could have done probably like 2 or 3 damage, but
yeah, but he has Urias.
Yeah, he does have Urias into Mini Soul Devil, which is pretty good. And what Haven is missing right now is the good old Priest of Kujo on turn 4.
Yeah, and that's gonna help given that the Blood player didn't have, the ideal start that it would have wanted.
Oh, he even gets the Night Horde's very nice here. A lot of tempo, and he's pushing a lot of damage. Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. Like Blood sometimes could get these starts that are just too fast for the Haven to control. Because as we see in the Haven hand, he has no way of answering boards.
Did you see the Arya proc?
Oh yeah. That's painful.
You get punished for playing Arya now. Feels good.
So what do you think what do you think Alexan's going to do here? Do you think he's forced to put the healing angel in the plea? Or is he going to go for a veteran trainer? Like the veteran trainer is tamer is really slow.
Honestly, I think you have to play the healing angel, but do you evolve the tiger and kill Urias first?
I think
so.
To
avoid that 1 damage? I think you do, and I think you don't care about Dance of Death either. I think you just...
Yeah, I think you just want to prevent as much damage as possible so you could try to stabilize late game. You do have the extra evolve point as well, so you could be more flexible with them.
Yeah, I agree. And Veteran Tamer, well, I actually like this card. I just think it might be too slow, but he is going to opt for that, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, he is going for the Veteran Tamer, and he's playing it first. So he decides that he wants to spread out his stats a bit more.
Yeah, and that could pay off.
Yeah. I mean, looking at his hand, he does have 4 of heal. So he does have some decent sustain.
But will he be able to... Will it be enough?
Yeah, because Mango's just going in here with the Razor Claw and the Evolve in the bat. Oh, man.
Oh.
So he's going to have to, I think, double heal this turn, because next turn he could... Imp Master and... Or is it Imp Lancer? Plus Evolve is 5, yeah. Imp Lancer, right? Imp Master is a terrible Hearthstone card.
Yeah.
That's how I remember. Alright, yeah, so he does see that he does need to heal up. But there's actually no way he could clear off all the bats, so the Imp Lancer is still lethal.
Yeah, and even you can see, even having that extra 4/4 body on the board really doesn't make a difference, because since the opponent's board is spread so thin on all those 1/1s, it really didn't matter if he had, the Tiger evolved or the Tamer evolved.
Yeah, and this 1 damage is actually relevant.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, that's going to be lethal right there.
Yeah.
Whereas if he had made the other play, he would have had 1 additional life.
Yeah.
But, I mean, who's to say if that would save him anyway?
Yeah, he did only have 3 extra health in his hand, and there was no easy way for him to deal with the Imp Lancer actually. So he would have to trade 2 of his 4 attack creatures in.
Yeah, it was pretty unlikely that he was gonna come out of that regardless.
Yeah. So that's Mango taking the win with his blood, getting a win on the board on his side. And as expected, we thought that he did have a really good curve there. He went to Urius into
Well, it wasn't amazing. I mean, for an aggro blood standard,
I mean,
he just went 2-drop, 3-drop into the.
I think what was the
Night Horde?
I think what was the biggest tempo play, or what gave him the biggest edge was the Night Horde on turn 4, because that just killed his minion, played 2 bats, and he got to evolve and push damage.
Yeah, it's true. Because one of the things about Haven is you can't really expend your mana in that many ways. Like, you're kind of forced to just play 1 or 2 things a turn, and then they just flood the board with bats, and you can't really deal with them.
Even if Haven had their hard removals, it wouldn't have done much. Like, if they had their Themis or if they had their Tribunos, especially because there was just a bunch of bats on the board. It's just really hard for them to take off those single creatures.
Agreed.
So do you think, since we saw Mango go with his blood, do you think we're pretty sure that he's going to go with his Haven next? I would imagine.
I'd imagine he'd want to take the mirror before he goes with the shadow.
Yeah. That's what I would do too. Just psych yourself up. Tell him that you're just going to reverse sweep.
It's all the more satisfying if you do it that way anyway.
Yeah. And we get to see how this Haven match plays out, because it is interesting because they both have Seraph as their win condition, but the rest of their deck is built slightly different with who was it? Mango has the full
the pure Seraph.
Yeah, the pure Seraph, and Lexan with the Elena hybrid.
What's interesting looking at the lists here is I actually see in Mango's pure list, he's got 3 Seraph compared to Lexan's 2, which may actually come relevant if he doesn't happen to draw it. And I think he also has more activators. So he's got a few more activators, just extra copies of them. So if he does play Seraph, he's more likely to just win on the following turn.
Yeah, I think so too. And he has more. Does he have? Lexan's Elena's list doesn't have like the prison priest, right? Yeah, there's no prison priestess to fish out the Seraph. So Mango does have more ways to fishing for it if he doesn't naturally draw it, which I do think would give him the edge as well, with all the other things considered.
But we do see a pretty good start for Lexan, though, with the ideal Arya into Alana's into healing on the following turns.
Yeah, so when the Arya's pop up, when the Arya comes up, he's going to have a pretty big board, and if Mango actually doesn't have any removal like a Themis, then he might just be in trouble and just die to the entire board.
The one thing to remember is he does have that Tribunal, and he is running 3 copies of it. So he's likely to be able to deal with a lot of the stuff that can be put down. And he does have all those extra activators, so he can get the Tribunal to proc the second time.
Yeah, definitely. So we just see Lexan pick up the Seraph last turn. That's going to be really important, because he could potentially just drop it on turn 8 and just wait for it to go off. Does he have any reductions at all?
Yeah, he does. He does have he does have the main reduction package.
Okay,
but just has like slightly less copies than Mango does.
So on paper, but in practice, his hand does seem pretty good. Granted, we don't.
He's also first.
Yeah, so you could drop it first. He does have the healing prayer as well. I guess it's just a bit hard to say because we can't see Mango's hand. He might have Seraph into like all of the countdowns as well in his hand. We're not too sure.
It might actually come down to whether Lexan can draw the additional countdown cards so that he can actually activate his Seraph first.
Yeah.
Because right now we do only see 1, but he is going to draw another 3 cards now in the following turn.
Yeah, so he's going to have lots of time to pick it up. Oh yeah, with the with a Sacred Plea, as well as his natural draws too, because he's just waiting on turn 8 to play the Seraph. He's going to draw 2 more cards during that time. It might actually have came down to whoever went first this game, if that's the case.
Have you played much Seraph in the past?
No. I always just played the LNS mainly, and aggro. I was one of the scumbag players that just played the Brokeback decks, but... Okay, good removal turn for Mango.
Yeah, we do see that Tribunal coming down.
Tribunal's surprisingly pretty good. Like, when I first saw the card, I thought it was, like, pretty average or below average. But it's been working out, especially because Havens could control their Tribunals.
It's very annoying to play around, too, isn't it?
Yeah, like, you usually want to have 2 followers on the board if you want to somewhat play around it. But if you don't want... If it costs too much for you to lose one of those followers, then you have to just pass a turn, which is annoying.
And you're also paying... Like, if you're trying to set up anything, you're also keeping in the back of your mind that you could just, you know, use Dogma or something and reduce it, and
yeah,
you never know when it's gonna actually proc.
Yeah, so you never really want to commit anything too big on it. But then there's also
just having it sit on the board is a threat on its own.
Yeah, I mean, even when you're planning to play like a big Ancient Elf, you always have to consider Tribunal as well. Like if Tribunal comes down from hand.
So we see Seraph slam down on turn 8. And here's the thing is, like we said, going first, he gets to play that immediately. And, you know, Mango's really just been playing removal, but you really didn't have to. You know, it's just kind of filling in the turns here, because the Seraph is all that really matters right now.
Yeah, especially at this point where neither player has taken much damage, and even there are no pressure of dying. So whoever played the Seraph first is in favored here, and we do see that Mango did not have a Seraph, because if he did, he would have played it, right?
He must played it on his own.
Yeah.
So that's very unfortunate, given that he's running 3 copies of it too.
He must have drawn the Tribunals off the Prison Priestess then.
Yeah, that's possible. Oh.
And that just might be it, right? Because Healing Prayer and the Initiate won't pop it this turn, right? But it's going to go off next turn.
Yeah.
And there's no way that Mango's going to be able to kill Lexan on his following turn.
Wait, he does have 3 Odins in his deck.
Oh, does he?
No.
Oh, he's scary there. I'm like, that'd be a bit too greedy, I think.
No, not at all.
Odin, man. I don't even know. Is that card even played now? It's just kind of rotated out, right? It was hardly played last format too, right?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, that's like AA ranks, so doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I play against AA ranks all the time, so in Masters.
Yeah, I guess matchmaking kind of.
I don't mind, because a lot of times they like miss lethal or do something wrong, and I'm happy. One thing I have noticed in Masters is that you can't. It's very rare to get more than 100 points now, because you don't play against anyone higher than you, or rarely play against higher ranked than you.
True.
So I guess Lexan here is thinking if he wants to go off on the Seraph this turn, or just heal up and remove the board. I guess he can afford to just remove the board and be extra safe, because he does have to remove the countdowns in his hand anyways.
Yeah, I think you hold it, just because these players don't know each other's
lists, he might think there's an Odin in his build.
Yeah.
Build.
But then, at the same time, wouldn't you have... You would have seen the Odin come last turn, right? If he had it.
Yeah, you wouldn't risk leaving the Seraph up a turn. Unless, I guess he's afraid that he could just draw into it.
He could still draw into it. I mean, it's still the safest play. Like, there's no way he's going to die, right?
Yeah.
So, you just hold it. And...
So it looks like that's going to be the win, right, for Lexan.
Yeah, that's it. Man, this isn't what I wanted to see. I didn't want to see aggro blood and hybrid haven.
I mean, I didn't expect anything more.
but I guess not enough has really been found out yet to.
Yeah, like these are the best decks that a lot of people are playing right now, and other classes or other types of decks are still being experimented with.